to add my voice to the ones of my colleagues who have spoken before me. Mr. Speaker, I stand in support of this report. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support the report because this report came about as a result of long and stretched negotiations. As a result, Mr. Speaker, of a situation which was very, very serious in our country. It was very dangerous. People were going to the streets to protest the high cost of living. People were protesting about some of the measures being taken by the government, particularly on issues of taxation and so on. And Mr. Speaker, it was thought wise that our country needs discussion. We need dialogue. We need to talk to each other. We need to talk with each other. We don't need to talk at each other. Mr. Speaker, it was because of this that it was decided that both sides of the divide sit down and discuss and come to some agreement, even if it is not 100%. Mr. Speaker, when dialogue starts, first you isolate the issues on which you can easily agree. Then you put down the issues which are more difficult to agree on. But as you agree on issues, Mr. Speaker, the ones you don't agree on don't disappear. They don't necessarily have to disappear, Mr. Speaker. They are still kept, and I want my colleagues who were not satisfied with the report, because the main issue, which was the issue of cost of living, perhaps was given a scratch on the back, but it was not addressed in details, Mr. Speaker. It is an ongoing process, and Mr. Speaker, I hope that the regime has heard the concerns of the Kenyans. It has heard the concerns of those who are not satisfied with this report, that the burden of the cost of living still continues to be very heavy on the people of Kenya, and this discussion should not be the end to it. There are some recommendations which I support, Mr. Speaker, which have been recommended here, particularly on the issue of cash transfers to the elderly to be increased from 2,000 shillings to something like 10,000 shillings, Mr. Speaker. I belong to that lot of the elderly, Mr. Speaker, and I hope, Madam Speaker, when I retire from this Senate, I will also be a beneficiary of that fund. But, Mr. Speaker, that is on a light note, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the issues which have been addressed in this report, which is a very, very big report, I am not able to read the whole of it. It is more than 500 pages, Madam Speaker, and the period, it was just tabled the other day. I don't think even the fastest reader would have been able to go through each and every clause there. But, Madam Speaker, the issues being touched are very weighty. When you look at the issues of electoral justice, Madam Speaker, some of the people who have not participated in an electoral injustice will not know how weighty it is to address the issues of electoral justice. Madam Speaker, I can tell you in 2007, when I was together with the current president, our president, Madam Speaker, we could see us losing on TV. The TV was showing that we are winning. Our candidate is 1 million shillings, and only 2 stations still remaining. We started jumping up, Madam Speaker, that we have already won. The election is over. But, Madam Speaker, little did we know that there could be, there was just 2 stations. They're catching up, and within 5 minutes, the whole result had been turned, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, introducing issues of electoral justice are issues which must not be taken lightly, because the result of injustice is actually violence. Madam Speaker, there can be no peace without justice. So it is important that we have justice so that we can have peace. And the issues of auditing the results have been agreed. The issues of making the electoral body more representative have also been discussed and agreed. And Madam Speaker, I support the recommendations as they are, and I hope that they will still continue to be discussed so that we improve them, so that we have elections which will be beyond the purity of Caesar's wife, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also saw the issues of the political parties discussed, and the issues of political parties, particularly when it comes to jumping. Madam Speaker, there are principles of democracy. In advanced democracies like our mother parliament in Britain, you cannot vote when there is a whip and you are de-whipped because you are voting with the side which is not on the party on which you are elected. Madam Speaker, it is a very serious issue. You can lose your seat. But Madam Speaker, here we take this very lightly and people jump from one party to another very easily. And the issue of jumping from one party to another and voting as at will is addressed here. And Madam Speaker, I think that, I hope that discipline in political parties will be improved by the recommendations here. Madam Speaker, I also want to express my satisfaction with the address of creating positions of the opposition, the leader of opposition, and also what they call it, the cabinet, the chief cabinet secretary. Madam Speaker, you know, sometimes you need to improve on the management of government, but we also need to improve on the check and balances in terms of the opposition checking. Madam Speaker, I'm also supporting the creation of that position, and I would like to also support the issue of improvement on the political parties' funding. Madam Speaker, on the management of political parties' funding, apart from the improvement of the management, there should also be improved disbursement of funds to political parties. Madam Speaker, this is something which is not taken seriously by the executive and the political parties, though they have some entitlement and they also have some commitments, but they are unable to meet those commitments because funds are not being disbursed or to them on time, and this is an issue which I hope the recommendations of this report will improve, and there will be something done to it. The one of gender, I have heard women very, very bitter about the issue of gender. This issue of gender is a very sensitive issue, but it's something which has been with us. It has been with us since I joined Parliament in 1994. There's a time when if you mentioned gender, in 1994 people would just scorn at you and look at you, but now we have come a long way, and there is just a small thing remaining, just to achieve this thing of 2/3 gender. I hope that we would do something. Personally, I'm very frustrated that we have not been able to achieve this 2/3 gender. Sometimes we get so frustrated. When I was in the National Assembly, when it comes to voting on this 2/3 gender, you see men walking out one by one, until you just find a few of us remaining to vote with the ladies. And others are.
Your time is over, Senator. Yes, Senator Charadike.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity.
What is your point of order? Because he has not even submitted anything.
Madam Speaker, it is the practice of this House that we have ranking members. How would Senator Gloria speak before Senator Onyoka and Senator Charargei, Madam Speaker? There's practice, Madam Speaker.
Senator